Oh, hey, good morning. Welcome to Hello High River, and we don't have any theme song right now.
I thought we did.
No,
I was like, what's happening? There's no music. I'm not supposed to be on camera yet.
Here, you know what? And I did it. I did it so that we wouldn't screw anything up. but
System.
Yeah, you got to mess with the system. That's right. So you know what? We could play the theme song later. But the theme song is not the most important part of this today's show. Anyway, it's the disclaimer that's really the most important part, right? And the fact that we finally, although it's going to take me a second to load it up, we finally have our censor button, which is useless anyway. So should we let everybody know, because we'll have to do the disclaimer at some point before the theme song anyway. So maybe just do the disclaimer here, and then when I'm ready, we can do the theme song, because I love doing the theme song and I love saying hello to everybody.
Yeah,
theme song is good. I enjoy it.
Okay, so everybody who's watching, we've been talking about some of the stuff that goes on in the show, and we now need to start warning people. So here's the disclaimer.
Warning. This program may contain silliness, stupid jokes, accidental swearing, Amanda making fun of Dave, Dave making fun of Candace, and prize giveaways. Viewer discretion is advised.
There you go. So what do you think? Are we missing anything? Is that okay?
I think Gary was the only one that heard that.
Oh, really?
No, there's 4 people. So everyone has to say hi and tell us what they thought of it.
We could just play the warning throughout the entire show. I mean, we can continue to play the warning, so just to let everybody know. Okay, so let's you want to try this one more time?
Sure.
Okay, I'll explain later what happened, but right now we're going to do the Hello High River theme song.
People will be missing it, I'm sure, so.
They'll be missing it?
Yeah.
It's not the same without it.
No, I know it's not the same without it. So, okay, so here we go. Let's try this. Ready? And when are we having the lip sync contest for our theme song?
I don't know. Maybe we'll have it in April. What was Easter in April?
Okay.
Easter's in April.
Yeah, because we've got the Leprechaun Catch a Leprechaun contest that's supposed to be happening this week. So everybody has to get their leprechaun traps ready to go. Okay, so now we got the theme song.
Did you see that comment?
No, what was it? What was it?
Bob, that's so cool.
Excellent. It's very much needed for the faint of heart. We got a few more. So we got a few more people on here that just popped on. So maybe we should play the warning again.
Warning. This program may contain silliness, stupid jokes, accidental swearing, Amanda making fun of Dave, Dave making fun of Candace, and prize giveaways. Viewer discretion is advised.
There we go.
Is that how you spell accidental?
Okay, best joke ever. What do you call an empty jar of Cheese Whiz?
Empty jar of Cheese Whiz. Well, that's a crime.
It's cheese was. Pretty cheesy, hey?
Oh, that's good stuff.
I stole that from my 9-year-old brother, years and years ago.
That one right there should have used it. We should have had the there we go. There. So that's our new censor button right there. So we've got the tone
really
down.
Censoring anything.
It's not censoring anything. See,
so still take that warning right to heart.
And Sandra says, "Let the games begin."
So yeah, we have this new censor button that we're using. That's supposed to be if we accidentally swear. But the thing is that, in a real broadcast situation, the censor button, you'd have some sort of lead in, like a 6-second delay or something like that, 10-second delay. So it's coming up. And then,
Right.
of course, when you hit the censor button, it deletes everything, so you can't actually hear it. But our censor button does nothing. It doesn't mute microphones. We have no delay. So you guys have to let me know 10 seconds before if you're about to swear by accident.
Literally, the censor button is just probably drawing more attention to our swearing.
So, see? There we go. And you have to mute yourself because your microphones are wide open. They're not going to mute when we do this. It doesn't have any tie into it. So, yeah. So let's try that again here, Amanda. So, ready? Oh, do it again. There we go. We did a good job on the censor button.
Job. For a family show, we finally got there.
Okay, I have to ask: is Sandra? Have we seen Sandra on before?
I don't believe so. I feel
I
like
don't
it's
think
a new
so.
look.
I feel like I know her name.
I know
Sandra,
Sandra
are you
too.
tuning in from the Amanda Thornhill page?
Where's Sandra from? Sandra, talk to us. Where are you from? Is this the first time you've joined us on the show? And how did you get here? Where are you watching from? So let us know.
I feel like I know her kids, maybe. From
because you
back
drive.
when.
Like
Yeah, because I drove.
Because you drove
her
the bus.
kids.
You
Yeah.
drove her kids.
Or
Okay.
you still
Maybe.
drive bus?
Well,
Yeah.
I do still drive bus, but it's a different route and different kids, but I still remember the kids and this whole thing. All the kids know me, but the parents are like, "Who are you?"
All the kids know you, but the parents. Okay, so I've got something I need to show here because not only are you driving bus, we also came up with a new little brand for you, right?
Did.
So let's talk about that. So first of all, we've got Candace from Envious Events, who is our co-host, our food promoter. We changed that from food critic to food promoter. We thought it sounded much nicer.
It's a little more exciting.
It's more inviting, and you say food promoter instead of food critic because you know that the restaurants in town are not going to invite you to eat their food if you're just going to critique it. So, so that's why we changed it that way, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
And
far,
then-
the food that I've tried has been amazing. So
well, and
let me know if you have any good little things. I would love to.
making us
Yeah.
jealous, of course, making us
You're
jealous.
welcome.
And then of course we've got Amanda. So Amanda Thornhill, finances with flair.
That's
Yay!
right. Okay, so that is definitely me. I'm not the typical, financial person who's going to talk over your head. I do it with a little bit of flair and fun. So there we go.
So does that include like dancing and singing and what does this flair include with their
might.
finances?
Well,
Probably a
flair
couple
is
F-bombs.
maybe something that starts with
That's
F.
your bunt in.
It depends on the person. I really. You're just gonna bleep me out anytime I talk about anything, aren't you? And you're gonna make me lose my train of thought, and then I'm gonna have to say
Happening.
rather
Get
than
ready.
flair. One.
Okay, wait, what is it?
You
What?
guys are not doing this very well.
We're not doing this right. 1, 2, 3.
There.
There we go.
Okay, we did
Sorry,
it.
family show. Okay, so Sandra does know me. I just have to say this from driving her kids, and this is what I'm doing on the show. So thank you, Sandra, for continuing to watch. Hopefully your kids aren't watching too.
Yeah. Okay, and then I get to introduce myself too, right? So my name's David
No.
Gale.
Well, I need the beeper button.
Oh, so
Beep.
no, I control everything. So that's why we
You're
have so
the
many.
same size.
That's why we have so many mistakes.
We'll
'Cause
just
I
get a
control
beer
it all.
one.
I didn't even get a laugh track for my
Oh.
joke.
I can do that. Oh, wait a second. That's not the laugh track. Don't tell your joke again. Hold on. We can use the laugh track when my wife. So my wife and I, we run this operation called Euro Productions Entertainment Services, and this is the kind of entertainment you can expect from us. So Amanda has a joke she told me yesterday. Come on, go ahead.
Oh, I'll have to look on my phone. I don't remember it.
Oh,
What
you
was
don't
it?
remember it?
Oh, it was something like, what do you get when you cross an angry sheep
With
and
a cow, isn't
with
it?
a cow?
Angry sheep with a cow. What do you get?
Mine's inappropriate. The beeping is not going to work.
It's an animal in a bad mood.
There, you got to use it. You got to use it.
Gary, that was fun, right?
Yeah, that's fun. Absolutely. Okay. There was something else that we were gonna. Oh, we need to talk about that leprechaun trap thing again. So I want to promote
You could
that.
sound a little bit more excited about that, Dave.
Well, I'm trying to do a bunch of things at one time here. You sound excited about it. Here you go. Sound excited about that. I am
We're
excited.
trying to catch leprechauns because really we all want to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So let's catch the little fellas because I feel like there's more than one and enter a contest. So we want you to build your trap, take a picture.
You want me to show the picture of the trap now?
Sure, you can.
Okay,
These are
there
just
you go.
ideas. Look at the little guy's mocking us. He doesn't think our traps are going to work. So let's prove him wrong. Take some pictures, post them on our Hello High River Facebook page because did you guys know that we are on Facebook now?
Well, now they know. Okay.
So yeah, find us on Facebook. I'm working on prizes still. Maybe there's going to be a surprise prize. That's okay too.
Ooh, keep tuning in to find out.
And
But definitely keep tuning in to find out. I'm going to post them as soon as I figure them out. So yeah.
Okay, and do I need to post this too? Do we want to post
Yeah,
this?
sure, we can post it.
Okay.
These are just ideas of things that you may want to include in your trap. So shamrocks, decorations with gold and rainbows and stickers and all that good stuff. Obviously a trapping mechanism, and I think that's going to be fun to see how people make the trap actually collapse. Because
Yeah. Okay.
so let us know.
I actually am very excited to be making.
Like
our
I'm
leprechaun
expecting
trap.
like a rap video with your trap.
Don't get that. Don't
You know, like-
don't put me on the spot for that.
Talking about a rap video,
Yeah.
you never know
What-
when I might
Wait a
break into
second,
song or
what-
dance.
Lorraine's saying something here. You never know, Amanda will break into a song or dance. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So
So Amanda,
exactly.
you
What
now
happened?
have to build a trap and do a rap video. A trap
Ooh.
rap video. Yeah.
trap video. Yes, that's a good idea.
Trap rap video with a lot of cheese and leprechauns.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay, Amanda, what are you looking at there? I saw you look back. What are you looking at? Oh, it's our puppy.
So
That's our
cute.
puppy. Our puppy Dozer.
Dozer.
Dozer. So
Dozer, dozer.
I think
Yeah.
she's camera shy.
so
Definitely hiding behind the chair.
we're
Is it a
introducing.
she
It's a she. Yeah, it's a she.
named Dozer?
Yeah. Okay.
Dozerina?
So do we tell them tell them the truth? The truth is that we keep the identity hidden because we're just fostering, so we have to keep the identity hidden. So for today, her name's Dozer. Maybe next week, maybe her name will be Rosie, and then the week after that, maybe
Or
her
the
name
next dog will be Rose.
Oh, the next dog will be Rosie, or maybe we'll name her Codeine or something like that.
I don't know if I could be a.
Sorry, was I supposed to beep that?
I feel like
Oh dear.
So
I don't know
yes.
if I could be a foster dog parent
No, how
because
come?
well,
should
it'd be
keep it.
sad to give him. I know I'd be like my mother and start keeping a bunch of different animals because her
Oh, yeah.
full intent was to foster. She has 7 now, and because she can't give them up, I'd be the same. Fraggle
Becky
Rock.
says Dozer Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, the little dozers.
I don't remember.
Amanda Thornhill, do you not know Fraggle Rock?
I do know. I watched it
Oh.
like every day, but I just don't remember.
The little
Some of the
green
names.
guys were the
The little
dozers.
green guys are dozers.
Yeah.
So are we also allowed to mention that we've got a really cool connection to the new Fraggle Rock movie that's coming out?
Yeah, a friend of ours is working on the puppets for Fraggle Rock. So
Yeah.
Really?
he worked on some of the little green dozers, and yeah, he was telling me something the other day about they had like 30 puppets on stage and the dozers were doing their song, and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait. So
Working on some
So much fun.
soundstage or something like
I
that.
really
so.
want the Fraggles on the show.
I asked him about that. I said, what
Did
do
you?
what do we need to do to get the Fraggle Rock puppets on the show or have them visit our show? And He's working on it. Yeah, he's working on it. Sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound very,
We're their top priority. We are their top priority. So.
Well, I represent very popular show. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just really quickly, we might have Dozer there come on the show every once in a while if she gets up and wants to play a little bit, just because she's our new foster dog. We just got her the other day.
Ready to play right now.
No, not right now. No.
It's just
Amanda.
camera shy.
Amanda took her for a nice 2-hour run this morning. Got up at 5:00 in the morning, so 7 o'clock she got back.
Babe, because I don't run.
Yeah, this Amanda here. Yeah. Yeah, and we never ever asked you to come over and just start randomly walking and running our dog either.
Yeah.
So our
Right?
foster dog. So
It could happen. It could happen.
yeah. So yeah, that's the new foster dog. So hope everybody enjoys time with her as well, and whoever else we foster. So we just wanted to have a foster dog. What's up, Amanda?
I
Thornhill?
feel like that's a part of Dave does. Dave does dozer walking.
Oh yeah.
Dave and Dozer do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dave and
yeah.
Dozer
Because-
do. That's so
Dozer
good.
That can go somewhere. Absolutely. Because we've got now Dave does things, brushing his teeth. We still have these up here, making a sandwich, having a nap,
So
But
for anybody
today
that
we
didn't,
have guests.
dog videos. What's that?
yeah, I was gonna
Today
say
we
they're
have
lucky.
guests.
I know
Yeah.
we've got guests. So who do we have? We've got Peter,
got-
right?
Peter with
Yeah.
Waves Peer Coaching
Okay.
and Allie with Rowan House Society.
Okay. Cool. So why don't we get away
Dive
from
right in.
the dogs
Yes.
and the leprechaun traps and everything else, and Dave does, and let's start introducing some of our guests, because that's the whole point of our show, is so that people in the High River community can get to know some of the people that we're interviewing today. So Amanda's going to take care of my Amanda. She's way
Hey.
down there at the bottom, so I can't get all. Yeah, so she's going to take care of the slides today, and we are going to bring our guests on right now. Hopefully, they we haven't scared them away. So let's find out. Peter, are you scared now?
Oh,
to
I'm
be coming
terrified. Terrified.
Everybody usually is. Yeah. So, Peter, we want to introduce you to the community. Thank you for coming on here. We appreciate you having you on. Waves Peer Coaching. So we want to find out all about this, because we were reading some of the information that you sent us, and we're very interested. We did this on our promo to talk about what was referred to as psychedelic drugs. Is that what we're talking about today?
It's a good starting point. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. So that was the point that caught our attention the most. So yeah, let's find out a little history about you first. Tell us about you in the area.
Sure. So my family and I moved to High River in 2010. We have been in and around different parts of Alberta for our whole lives. Ended up coming here for a job that was in Calgary, and landed in High River, and we've loved it. Flood didn't scare us away, and we're kind of here for the duration until at least our kids are out of school. So we've got 4 kids, one of which starts university. The other one, youngest one, is in middle school, and then a couple in between. And for better or worse, this is our home right now, and we love it.
That's cool.
Excellent choice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very
That's right.
excellent choice.
I just recently, my wife and I just moved to the area quite recently as well, and we are enjoying every second of it. So no regrets at all. Okay, so let's hear more about Waves Peer Coaching, how you got involved with that and what that's all about.
Sure. So for the last 3-ish years, I've been pretty involved in the Calgary psychedelic community, and that is an odd title for people who aren't quite aware of what that might mean. It is not a bunch
we were
of
very
people-
interested in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It
That
is-
was my number one question.
is there a tie to psychedelic music in here at all, or
There can be, yeah.
there
So
can
my
be? Okay.
my personal approach to why I got involved in that community was because of a background since I was 15 years old of dealing with mental health issues and running up against a number of walls where medications weren't working, things I was trying just weren't working, or the side effects were worse than the things that were supposed to be getting treated. And so had run into this article here and YouTube video there about how certain psychedelics are being researched by places in the UK and notable universities in the US for mental health treatment, particularly PTSD and treatment-resistant depression. And so there at the time I got involved in the community, there were regular discussion groups where people could come and there were short presentations and we could ask questions. And it started to build a community of people who were coming from similar spaces or looking to learn more about psychedelics to try and address things in their lives that they were finding they kept hitting a wall and they couldn't break through. So my involvement was definitely more from a psychopharmacological approach, but along the way developed a relationship with this community and the people in it that has been pretty transformative for me.
So
awesome.
can I attempt to say that word?
I was gonna say that was a word.
That was a word. Yeah, that
It
was
was
a
just
word.
one word.
Yeah.
Psychopharmacology refers to essentially drugs to treat mental health conditions,
Okay.
or symptoms of mental health conditions.
So what specifically are we talking about when we're talking about psychedelics? And I'm asking honestly because I come from a and ironically, people would never guess this. Growing up as a DJ, working in as many nightclubs as I've worked in, I've never ever been involved with drugs ever in my life. So when you talk about psychedelics, I don't even really know what that refers to. So I think it was not too long ago that I was doing a little bit of research and I didn't even understand or know really what opioids were. So I started kind of researching that a little bit and understanding that a little bit more. But yeah, if you can just kind of fill us in a little bit on what that means for people like myself who've never ever been involved with it.
Sure. And so people sort of our age, of our generation, are smack dab in the middle of 50 years of the war on drugs and this is your brain on drugs messaging. So I was in that place as well. So in the context of the work I'm doing, psychedelics is a broad umbrella term that refers to certain substances that, when ingested, change the way brain activity works for a period of a number of hours, that can have a variety of different impacts. But the typical sort of cultural things we hear about are hallucinations, enhancement of visual acuity, seeing colors brightly, hearing things more adeptly, music sounds better. So those are kind of surface level effects. So we're talking about psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in what we commonly know as magic mushrooms, also LSD. And for the discussion around the mental health space, ketamine is also a popular option that's being researched now and is legal for use in certain clinics in Canada and specifically in Alberta and Calgary. So these three substances kind of all work relatively similarly on the brain. And then in some of the PTSD research, we're talking about MDMA, which is one of the active ingredients in what we know as ecstasy or rave drugs.
Okay, and so what are the legalities around what we're talking about today? So
good question.
I'm very curious about that.
So the Canadian legislation is largely piggybacking on American legislation. The 800-pound gorilla of the American war on drugs largely spilled over into Canada. So it's currently psilocybin and LSD are what are called Schedule 3 drugs, and it's Schedule 1 in the U.S., which in a nutshell means that they've been deemed to have no beneficial value, no value for research purposes, and they are highly, highly addictive. They're in the same category as the opioids you mentioned, heroin, methamphetamine. And part of the work that the community has been involved in is to educate people, to reduce the stigma around them, and to do advocacy work on the reclassification of them, particularly what we call plant medicine, which is not synthesized chemicals like MDMA or LSD, but things like mushrooms, which just grow. They're not processed. They are just a natural thing. So mushrooms and cannabis as being something that is provided by nature, there's an argument on that place alone that these are not things that should be regulated in the same way as methamphetamines should, particularly because all of the research is increasingly showing every day that there are dramatically beneficial health effects of these substances when they're used responsibly.
That's interesting. So again, somebody who, like myself, who has stayed away from drugs, I'm more on the side of, this is not something that we should be doing or encouraging people to do. That is a place I've grown up and my life has taken me down that road. And now I'm, obviously I'm living in the world today that is starting to encourage, drug use for certain medicinal purposes and maybe like you're talking about mental health and stuff. So what would you say to somebody like me who has a hard time with this whole idea of now let's start, doing the opposite of what I've grown up doing, which is tell people don't get involved with drugs. what are you going to say to somebody like me to encourage me to spread the message that you'd like to spread?
I think you're absolutely coming from the right place, because what you've just described is what's happening to a lot of people right now, particularly with the media attention that psychedelics have gotten in Alberta and Calgary specifically in the last 2 or 3 months, which is stopping and pausing and starting to ask questions instead of really just being in a reactive mode to that messaging that we've gotten for our whole lives. A lot of people, particularly in the sort of COVID world, where we have a lot of time now to stop and pause and think about, is this really as accurate as the messaging portrays? Because I keep hearing whispers here and whispers there, and the aggregate of those whispers is maybe there's something to this that's a little bit different than the messaging I've heard all my life. And that's the doorway. What is it that you can do to sit and stop and consider and start asking questions? And so that's a lot of the work that I'm involved in for people that are starting to crack that door or are looking to learn more and say, okay, maybe I'm not as terrified about this as I once was. Maybe I'm looking to learn more about what an experience is like, what it might help me with personally, or just general questions about what is it that's going on. The coaching process is different than counseling or therapy, where it's really questions and probing and examination, and then providing direction towards resources, or something as simple as this, just sitting down and having a conversation and relaying maybe some of my own personal experiences to try and give a bit of a different perspective. And overall, that's what we're talking about. Let's have conversations that are more out in the open, that are not sort of hush hush, this is illegal. These are things that have had profound and long lasting effects on people's quality of life. And the messaging that has been given to us for decades did not tell the full picture of what can happen when these are understood and responsibly used.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a hard thing, a barrier for me to break down. Just because, my entire 45-year existence was always taught, this is not something we should be encouraging. And so I don't mind having conversations about it, but I'll be honest with you, when we talk about, as Candace and Amanda and myself talk about this stuff, it even makes me a little bit uncomfortable having this. And I do not want to I want to make sure people understand we're not bringing you on to promote drug use. That's not why you're on here.
No.
And that's not what I want to do. It in fact makes me a little bit uncomfortable that people might view it that way or perceive it that we're promoting drug use. I just want to get the information out there for people. So
exactly. And that's a really important point, because I'm right there with you. This is not for everybody. This is not something to be taken lightly, and it's not something to be taken casually. Again, my personal approach to this was after a very, very long personal battle with mental health symptoms that nothing else was touching. So I was coming to it from a space of, I am desperate for something else to work. What I'm trying to do is help people to navigate similar spaces a little bit more elegantly than I did, and with maybe a lot less unnecessary suffering than I did. And that starts with education. So what I would say to people who are coming to it from you, and I have everything you have, plus a religious background that was really, really doubling down on this is not something you should touch ever.
Yeah.
To start to have conversations where those very visceral, body-centered reactions of anxiety or tension are coming up simply by having a conversation. And let's explore that. Where is that coming from? Is there a place to have just a slightly different perspective on this, at the same time as saying this may not be for you, and that's fine. But every single one of these conversations starts to destigmatize it. And I would liken it to a lot of the conversation that happened around cannabis when it was legalized. There was a lot of that same response as people were promoting first legalization of cannabis for depression treatment, very similar path, and then ultimately legalization for recreational use. And then it happened in 2017, and the world didn't end. But all along the way, it was one conversation after another until there was enough anecdotal evidence to the body of the country at large to say, okay, maybe the messaging that I had growing up was not quite what I thought it was. So my entry point specifically for the coaching angle is I'm not looking to convince anybody about anything. I'm not advocating the use of substances. What I am doing is saying, if there are people that are already interested or already want to learn more, instead of them just going and trying something and having an experience for which they're not prepared, and they don't understand what to do before, during, and after that experience, let's sit down and have a conversation to talk about basic harm reduction protocols, basic what we call set and setting. What are the physical spaces that you might create? And then what happens afterwards? Let's talk about that experience so that you don't have an adverse reaction to something that could stay with you for a very long time. This is recreational, not in the sense of I go and have a glass of wine, but recreational in the sense of let's go on a 3-day hike in the backcountry. If you're prepared, if you understand what's going on, if you're educated and knowledgeable, and you have a good circle around you of people and space to handle this properly, it can be a life-changing experience. But if you're going into it without a solid understanding, without that preparation, it can be very destructive. And that's where that messaging came from. So I'm not saying in any way, go and do this. I'm saying if you're already inclined towards it, let's have a conversation so that you're a little bit more elegant in the way that you might navigate that process, and maybe determine, well, this isn't actually for me after all, and maybe I'm better suited to just go talk to a therapist.
Right.
And I think it's really, really important to give people options, right? Mm-hmm. Like, as you say, in the whole coaching of it, you went through the process of, nothing working and you were desperate, right? Mm-hmm. So definitely making sure that we have, some education surrounding what else is available. I think is really important to open up the conversation. We do have some comments that kind of came in, from Becky saying that, she's in the same boat. She doesn't want to touch it. Right. Mm-hmm. To Wendy, saying unconscious bias has a huge impact on the conversation. So great information to at least, like you said, bring up, bring down the stigma of this conversation and what could be helpful for others out there.
Right. And I'll give you just one quick example of that. The word drugs has been used a lot, but there are 3 words that I would typically use when that comes up in conversation: drug, medication, and medicine. Mm-hmm. I have enough Tylenol in my medicine cabinet right now that if my kid got it, they would die of liver failure within hours. Mm-hmm. But we don't think anything of it. There is enough alcohol in a bottle of whatever, tequila, to kill somebody. But we don't think of it like that. So when we use the word drug, there is a lot of cultural and emotional and personal bias and baggage attached to that. What would happen if instead of the word drug, we called it medicine or medication? Does that change the narrative of the conversation? Not saying this is the right thing to do, but the labels that we attach to this and the baggage that is attached to those labels, just being in a space to sit for a couple of seconds and say, what is it that I'm bringing into this conversation unconsciously that I don't realize that I'm bringing into the conversation? And that can change a lot of things.
And personal past experience too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's a big part of, my path and journey is personal experience with this stuff, right? That's why I went down the path that I did. But I'm always the kind of guy, and I know that this is probably one of the most serious topics of conversation we've ever had on this show. Yeah. And I'm always the kind of guy that likes to inject a little bit of humor wherever I can. So I'm going to inject a little humor here with respect. Back to when you were talking about what happened to the world when marijuana and cannabis was legalized, and you said, the world didn't fall apart. But we were in Calgary the other day, and we did smell a lot of pot. And so the world may not have fallen apart, but oh my goodness, I was driving down the street going, oh, the smell of pot in this city is just, it's everywhere. Oh my goodness. So yeah, the world may not have fallen apart, but I sure smell pot a lot now. So
yeah,
I do too. I can't. For that, I can say I would rather be in a room full of people smoking pot than a room full of people drinking too much alcohol.
Oh yeah, interesting. Candace, did you have anything
I
you
was
want
just
to
going to
inject
say
here?
Before we talk about the prize that's coming up from Peter, kind of just to make it nicely.
And I have to inject a little more humor. Wouldn't people be curious now what that prize would be, huh?
Right. I think for me, what I've taken away from this conversation about it is seek a professional. Not to sound cheesy, but do not try this at home, children or adults. Seek a professional like Peter. And if this is something that you think might help you, by all means, contact him, but don't try it at home by yourself. Just we want to keep people safe. The purpose of this is not to cause harm or anything to anybody. So I just would like to wrap it up with that, but then we can give away a prize, so it's not such a downer. But
touch on one quick thing we didn't talk about the integration after the experience, what exactly that entails.
So integration of an experience means that in those few hours, there is a rush of experience, a rush of sights and sounds and feelings and emotions. Think of it like a skydiving experience. You're going to need to have some time to process everything that happens. And so integration after an experience can take days, weeks, months, where little lessons or tidbits of information will come in that one can incorporate into one's life to make changes, ideally for the better, to let go of things that no longer serve, or to add things to one's life that can improve the quality of them, their family, their friends, their work, you name it. But it takes work afterwards to process an experience that intense.
Okay. Becky made a comment there. Do you want to bring that up, Amanda? Because I think she was referring to the smell that
the smell of pot.
The experience and the smell. Amanda was with me, actually. Amanda, you remember when we were driving in Calgary there?
Yeah.
And, oh boy.
Yeah, I don't think people were using sage in the out of doors.
No.
So.
It's like the whole city just sage their
cleanse everything.
Oh, there's another question that we just popped up.
We do have another question. So do we recommend starting by microdosing?
I don't necessarily recommend one approach over the other. It's definitely a point that can start. So microdosing is taking very, very tiny sub-perceptual amounts where you don't actually feel the effects. You don't feel high. You just come to the end of your day going, that was a really good day, without being able to point to it. Some people start down that path. It's a little bit lower barrier of entry. You're not having as dramatic an experience. Again, it's not for everybody, but that's something that I'd love to talk to people if that's an idea that they're exploring, for sure.
So again, going back to my career in entertainment, working as a DJ for so many years, I've never touched drugs in my life, so I don't know what the actual experience is like. But I've always said to people, if I was to imagine what that experience would be like, it'd be the feeling, the euphoria that I get when I'm performing in front of an audience and they are having such a good time and the music is just, it's inside of you and you're feeling it and you're feeling the emotions between the audience and myself. And that's what I imagine. And I've always kind of rode that. I've rode that as that's my drug of choice for life, is my music and my performing. And that's what I've always gone to. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is there's all different ways that people can feel, that get to that rush, get to that high that you're looking for. And, your option is one, I guess. My option is music and performance. So let's take a look at what we've got now as far as our prize is concerned, because I can't read it so small. I'm very curious. I can't remember what it is. So here we go. We're going to bring it up on the screen. Oh, 1 hour coaching session. Okay. It's a 1 hour coaching session. Well, what we are legally allowed to give away on this show, a 1 hour coaching session. So,
and Peter, you will go through and coach them through all different types of options, right?
Correct. So what these coaching sessions typically look like initially is, starting out what brought you to wanting to discuss this at all. And let's talk about a bit of somebody's history and what sort of piqued their interest. And then it can be just a straight up question and answer session if they have a ton of questions. It could also be me probing them with questions to try and dig a little bit deeper underneath as to what is it that's motivating them to explore this. What is it that they think will be different after an experience than what they're currently feeling right now?
Okay.
Cool.
So to give away this prize, I think it's very specific to those that are interested. So I just want to say, if you're interested in winning this 1 hour peer coaching session with Peter, please just comment that you want to win it, and we will. The first person that comments that they would like Peter's prize, we will give it away to you. So
and we'll probably keep this going past the show. Yeah. So we won't necessarily choose somebody on
unless somebody comment in the next 4 minutes.
Unless somebody comments right away that they would love this coaching session, but it might take a little longer for people to kind of catch the show afterwards. And mention it that they'd like it later on. So thank you very much, Peter. If there's anything else you wanted to add before we let you go, this is your opportunity. If not, then we'll say have a great day, and we'll talk to you another time.
There is a lot of stigma around this space and this space adjacent to this, which is mental health care. And the fact that we're having this conversation at all is a big deal. Every single conversation moves this closer to be something that's not to be talked about in the shadows. And that as an overarching goal is something that's very important to me, that people can address these things in a way that doesn't feel fearful or like they're going to get in trouble. And it's just conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Peter, for your time. Thanks for educating everybody, and good luck with everything. We will talk to you another time. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks.
Bye, Peter.
You too.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was one of the more serious topics on our show. Hey.
I feel
That was.
I'm like, that's something. I'm not going to say that. I'm just pretend. Talk about something else.
What's that? Say that again.
She had a thought.
She's like, man, I need a drink after that conversation.
That's not a good way to deal with mental health, Candice.
Oh. By the way,
Okay.
this is just water. Nobody judge.
Okay.
But you know what,
awesome.
though? I have to say that was a really great conversation regarding mental health. And I think that is what needs to be the takeaway is mental health needs to be top priority. And there are so many different options.
Absolutely.
Sandra.
I really took it too, like, maybe these are people that are at their last resort, right? Like, if this can save somebody from maybe taking their own life, then like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
out, right?
I was going to say that
anything
it's not something that I'm necessarily, like I said, I've been conditioned for the past 45 years in a certain direction, and maybe not something I'm most comfortable with, but if it helps somebody else, then great. If we are doing something that's going to help somebody, then awesome.
Absolutely.
Maybe not necessarily for me, but maybe somebody else out there will be inspired in some way, and it will help them.
Absolutely.
So Dad said it was good.
It was good.
And if our dad says it's good, well, then we know we're on the right track. So
Sandra did say it was great info.
yeah.
Does that mean she may want?
I really want
I don't know.
comment, I want Peter's prize. So in the thing, you have to say, I want Peter's prize. And
Yeah,
you will
don't be so cryptic, Sandra. Don't be so.
Yeah.
You got to spell it out for us.
Wendy, she was commenting. Maybe she would like the prize.
I know, but
Yeah,
I
maybe.
found it very informative. But no offense to Peter, I do not want the prize. Like I just don't want to try that. So
And you know what? Here's the other thing too, is that if somebody knows of somebody else, so if somebody's watching that they think that this would be a great prize for somebody else they know, then maybe just let us know. And Becky just made a comment here, so we'll bring Becky's comment up in a second. But maybe somebody who's watching wants this prize to be able to pass it on to somebody else who it will help. So we can look at it from that perspective as well. What did Becky say here?
Becky was saying she's a certified peer support person with an extensive background in processing and working through stuff. Mental health is an area of expertise to me. So, she has her own way of getting through that and getting others through that. So that's the deal, is everyone's got a way.
Yeah. And there's no one size fits all. That's the most important thing to understand. There's no one size fits all. We all know different human beings do things in different ways. So
absolutely.
Sandra said,
oh, we're fighting over this now. We got to share the comments. Sure, I'm up for a hike.
Sorry, I was so excited. I was so excited there. I just had to hit the button. So.
Congratulations,
there you go.
You can reach
Sandra, you've got
out to Peter. You are the lucky winner. His website is just scrolling along right here below. So just visit that and you can get in touch with him. And if he doesn't give you it, just let us know and we'll tell him you were the winner. So.
Okay, awesome.
Pricing is always a little tricky because I'm like, I don't know how to connect people easily.
Okay, guys, why don't we bring in our next guest here and talk to?
Sure, we're gonna play our video first. So
gonna play the video? Okay.
When I reached out and asked the Rona House Society to have somebody on our show, Allie responded, and then on the bottom of her screen, on the bottom of her email, there was this link to a video, and I watched it, and I just think it's a really beautiful introduction to what they do, and we'll maybe gauge some comments that have questions about the Rowan House Society. So let's jump into the video, and then we'll jump in with Allie after.
Okay, here we go. Let's roll it.
Perfect.
Everyone can thrive in safe and empowering relationships. This is Rowan House's vision. I often hear people that walk through the doors say how much they didn't expect Rowan House to feel like such a home. The way that we as staff members here feel, we are working within someone's home. People who walk through the doors, they have their own space. They are able to maintain their own safety. Some of the things that make Rowan House different is the feel, the people that are here supporting. We often hear that the children love the playroom. Our child development workers are here all the time to play and let kids just be kids. We provide opportunities to discuss some of what you may have experienced in a safe and supportive environment through group or individual discussion with one of our shelter counselors. Some of the things that we might go through is a mask making circle, where you can safely explore some of the traumas that you may have been through and explore what is important to you. We recognize that there could be some barriers into moving forward, and we want to be able to support you in accessing those resources that may help you. Some of the things are housing, financial, maybe counseling support for when you move forward. We're here to support and refer you and get you connected to those. Our support for our residents doesn't end at 30 days. We provide opportunities to connect with further resources, whether that be our outreach team, other resources in the community that you are going to help further your healing. We recognize that the children are also experiencing abuse in their homes. They're witnessing things, experiencing things, and when they're coming here, they just get to play. While their children are playing, our residents get to focus on themselves for maybe the first time in a long time. They get to focus on what will help them moving forward, whether that's sitting with a shelter counselor and maybe telling their story for the first time without judgment. They are able to start making some plans, creating goals for themselves and for their families. Our hope within 30 days is to allow individuals to make the decisions for themselves, whether that's returning to a relationship with further safety planning, whether that's leaving their relationship and relocating. We want to walk through those steps with you. These 30 days are not made possible without the support of our community. If you feel like you are someone who can give us that support, go to our website to learn more and to donate today.
Excellent. Well,
That
we've got
was
Allie
an
here.
excellent video.
Yeah, that was an
Yeah,
excellent
great.
video. Love that. So Allie's joining us today with Rowan House, and we're going to talk about this pretty important topics of conversation on the show today. So I know we like to have a lot of fun and humor and stuff, but we are talking about some serious. So
Barely
there we
good
go.
shout out.
my chance to inject a little humor. So Allie, yeah, we definitely want to talk about this. So important, and thank you for coming on and sharing your information. So we always like to start with a little history. So why don't you give us a little background on yourself and how you got involved with this?
Sure. So my background is actually radio as well. I started working for the local radio station in High River in about 2008, and I found out about Rowan House through helping to tell their stories. And when a position opened up in kind of fund development and communications, I knew it was something that I had to do. And I have a personal history with family violence as well. So it just spoke to me. And now I've been with them for almost 9 years in this kind of role. And it's been my pleasure to be able to tell their stories for the last 9 years.
I would venture to say, and you know, if you disagree with anything I'm saying, then love to have a conversation. But I would venture to say that there's not one person in our world that doesn't go through a life without experiencing some sort of abuse at some level, whether it's, you know, bullying at school or abuse in the household or, you know, relationships or whatever, workplace abuse. Like we all are experiencing that I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just, it's terrible to think, because I mean, I would say I've gone through abuse in my life, just like Ali, you said you've gone through that as well. And I don't want to speak for Amanda and Candace and my wife, but I think we've all experienced it at some point. So it's an important topic to discuss.
Yeah, and I think that, like you were saying, the bullying in school and different things like that, that's all part of the intergenerational cycle of abuse. And that's kind of how it starts, right? It could be bullying or being the victim of bullying. So it's definitely something that a lot of people experience in different ways. And like it comes in so many forms as well, right? Like it doesn't just end up with bruises. It could be physical, emotional, psychological, financial, spiritual, cultural. And if you're not experiencing it yourself, it's very likely that you know someone who is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So give us a little bit more in-depth information on Rowan House Society, and some of the, what you guys would offer there. I know you guys are talking about a launch of our self-guided interactive public education course on what abuse is and the effects of abuse on children and healthy relationships. Why don't we touch on that a little bit?
Sure. So I'll just start by saying Rowan House provides primarily crisis intervention for women and children who are fleeing abuse. But that's not the only way we can support. So right now, especially with the pandemic, there's people who have a lot of hesitation about coming into communal living and things like that. They can receive support one-on-one in the community. So right now, that's kind of mainly through video calls and telephone calls and stuff like that, just due to the restrictions. But we have outreach counselors who meet with individuals one-on-one. And that could be depending on whether you are ready to leave a relationship, if you have left but you're safe and don't need the shelter, or you're just not really sure, you're just navigating. So there's those options. And then, of course, we provide the prevention. So really trying to focus on raising awareness about what abuse is, breaking that stigma, having those conversations, and really working with youth as well to start those conversations early about what that looks like. And we're so excited that obviously we weren't able to be in the classrooms for quite some time with the COVID pandemic and all of that. So we got busy, our prevention team got busy creating this online course. So now people can jump online and go through this information and really get themselves educated about what abuse looks like and how they can help their friends or family they might suspect, and just really become aware and just more understanding of those situations.
Cool. Amanda and Candace, do you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask about this?
I just know that I've been I've heard lots of things and been involved in some of their fundraising things, and I really like the fact that I know you guys help within the schools, which I think is great, and then you also help the men of the relationships to learn how to just do better, be better, and that kind of thing. And so I think that to me was something that when I first learned about the Rowan House, I thought it was specifically just basically like the runaway shelter to get away from people. And then to know that you also help all people involved in any situation was really nice to learn about. And then also in your video that I got everyone to share here today about how you help afterwards. 30 days to me seems like a very short time to deal with all of that. And so it was really encouraging to know that too. So I guess I don't really have a question. I just have that little comment about it. But yeah.
I had a question about how to access that self-guided information. Is that on your website?
Yes, so it is a free course. So if you just go to rowanhouse.ca and then look for our prevention program, there's an online registration form there, and then you just kind of enter your email and which modules you'd like to participate in, and then our prevention team will get you hooked up.
Perfect. And Becky had a question. If you offer peer support volunteer opportunities, it's her area of living experience.
Yeah, so what I would recommend is for her to connect with our volunteer coordinator, so volunteer@rowanhouse.ca, and just give them an email and connect with them, and they would love to have conversations about how you might be able to get involved with that.
Perfect.
Awesome. So we've got some information here as well about Hope and Healing Heroes monthly giving donor drive with Century 21. So you want to talk a little bit about that and what that's all about?
Yeah, for sure. So we're really excited about this. It's obviously Rowan House's 21st year in operation, and being Century 21, 2021 is a big year for them too.
I get
so
it.
we
Yeah.
kind of just got this natural partnership together, and of course, there's such huge ambassadors in the community, right? So they decided to provide a $5,000 matching pool. So anyone who signs up for our monthly giving program this month, their total year contribution will be matched up to that $5,000 amount. So it's really about just trying to find stability. Like this year has been so hard for so many people, and we just know that it's going to be like that for the next little while. And just kind of like you all have your monthly budget and what you need to do for expenses every month, for us to have more of a awareness of what amount is going to be coming in for us, it's just so huge in being able to plan our year and provide our programs and services. So this monthly program is so important to us. And the fact that there's now an incentive to get involved is just kind of really cool.
So you said that you guys have been in operation for 21 years. That's the whole 21, yeah.
Yeah.
So how far reaching is Rowan House?
So our service area, is that what you're asking?
Is it just a Canada-wide thing? Is it North American? Is it worldwide? How far reaching is Rowan House?
So Rowan House is for the foothills. So we basically, our service area is from the City of Calgary border south to Claresholm, and then east out to Vulcan, and west out to Bragg Creek, Eden Valley Reserve. And then we serve that entire circle area, all the towns and communities within there. And like obviously if someone's fleeing from another province and they end up in our shelter, that we don't turn people away like that. But our outreach and our prevention our school programming would primarily be within that foothills area.
Okay, that's great to know. And Becky also made a comment here about the trauma and abuse of childhood really does last for a lifetime. So having that support to get people through that, through their lives is extremely important as well. This is how do I sensitively ask this question? So I know that we were talking and you were talking about kind of helping to educate the men as well. Do you find the percentage of men that need help in the reverse situation where they're being abused is something that you come across quite a bit?
Yeah, it's definitely less so, but it is happening. And when we go into the schools, we talk to the youth that we don't say he, she, we say it's your partner who could be causing the harm, and it could happen to anyone by anyone. And they're like, it doesn't matter what age, gender, it can be same-sex relationships, heterosexual relationships, all of that. And so we're very honest that it can. Unfortunately, Rowan House can only provide in-shelter support to women at this time, but we do support some men through our outreach program. And of course, just working with the community to have those conversations as well. And then, of course, we do the other side of it through our Safe at Home program, which is now working with the partners who are abusive and having them leave the home so that women and children can maintain the stability of their home and their security networks, and try to break the root cause of what's causing people to use abusive behaviors, because obviously people don't wake up and say, I'm going to be abusive today. There's something deep rooted in that.
Yeah.
Becky made another comment here, which, did you see what Global TV had on the Safe at Home program that helps the abuser get help? I think this is wonderful that this is in place. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so we had just opened March 1st for our Safe at Home program, and we're fortunate to have Global go out to get to see the facility, and it's located in Claresholm, and it's basically for anyone who just recognizes that they might be using abusive behaviors, but they don't know why. Well, now they have a place to turn to kind of sort that out and get help for that.
That's amazing.
Anything else you guys wanted to ask or inject on this subject?
No, I feel like
happy. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we've touched
over each other.
We do want to say sorry.
You go.
No, I was just saying that I think that this whole show has been, centered around the mental health, and which is such an important topic, and so necessary to be talking about, especially after the year that we've had. And hopefully we can get back to some normalcy, but it's great to know that the programs out there for both sides, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Allie, is there anything before we let you go here? Is there anything that you would like to share that we haven't touched on yet?
Sure. I would just say, I think Peter was talking before, it's that stigma, right? So it's so important to just be bringing these issues into the light and having those conversations. And if taking like a self-guided course is not really your thing, but podcasts are, we also put out a monthly podcast, the Journeys to Hope and Healing podcast. And we talk all sorts of topics on the issue of domestic abuse and the different facets of it. And so if that's kind of your thing, we'd love for you to tune into that, because there's lots of information to be had for sure.
Perfect.
Can all that information be found on your website?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, we got all the information on the ticker down at the bottom there, so everybody can, anybody can join and check things out on the website. We really appreciate your time, Allie. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing all your information.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Okay.
Thanks, Allie.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Allie.
Okay, guys. Well, there's some educational moments we experienced today. Hey?
Lots.
Yeah?
Lots.
Wow. Okay, so why don't we touch on a couple things before we let everybody go, because we are at our 1 hour. Try to keep this to 1 hour. So, of course, we want to let people know that they can be on the show as well. So, Candace, do you want to speak to this?
Sure. So if you or any of the things listed on your screen, business, service group, hosting an event that is within the town of High River, obviously we do a little bit of the area around if needed. Just visit the link on your screen to sign up to be on our show. We would love to have you. We make sure that it's fun and entertaining. So
and educational, like today.
Very educational today.
Yeah,
very.
Wow. Okay,
very.
and then one of the Bob said, and he said a lot here. Let's see.
Okay, do you want me to read it?
Yeah, you go ahead, do this.
On a lighter note, I popped into Chinook Quilting with my mom and received the prize that I won last episode. I am no quilter, but their shop was amazing and they were super friendly, and the quilting machine they have is friggin' awesome. Where's the beat?
Hold on. Okay, you want to say that again? So just back it up a little bit and read it again.
Okay, and the quilting machine they have is awesome. Check it out. My mom was excited to get my prize. Awesome.
Although I didn't know that the word was a swear.
Well, but
it's not a swear, but we needed
to be able to type it and not have Facebook delete it, he had to put
Reagan.
Exactly.
Oh, there, it didn't even work.
We need the countdown, or we need a delay or something. But see, our show is getting people out in the community and, checking out the businesses. So definitely sign up to be on our show.
Yes. Yeah. And Bob, I want you to build your leprechaun trap as well. So make sure you build your leprechaun trap.
I got some fabric there to help trap the little guy. That was good.
Little fella.
The little creeper. Okay, so Bob, you got to get on that, and we need other people to get their pictures in for their leprechaun traps. And these are some ideas here of trapping that leprechaun. And here are some rules or trap ideas. And then we've got some prizes that you're gonna work on getting, right, Candace?
Yeah, I'm working on prizes, yes. And then remember, we're on Facebook. Follow our page. Submit your pictures on there. We are going to have your pictures live on next week's show. So
excellent.
7 days.
And then we've got some swag, our beautiful hats here that we need to let people know about, right? So
swag, you can too.
Yeah, so make sure there you go. That's where you can get the swag. So help us out a little bit, and pick up your Hello High River hats, and I'm sure we're gonna have more swag and more merchandise as the months go on, the weeks go on here. So
absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, you guys. Again, another great show, very educational. And these are Amanda Thornhill, the Candace of Envious Events. And Amanda, you didn't change this to, what is it again? Your financial...
No, I'll update it for you.
What is it?
Finance with Flair.
Oh, Finance with Flair. That's right. Finance with Flair. Okay. Thank you very much.
And now everybody can enjoy our theme song one more time.
Let's do it. Okay, guys. We'll see you next week on Hello High River. Thank you very much, Dad. We appreciate everything you do for us.
Bye.